everybody, and welcome to another edition of Stephen's Kingdom. And we're going to talk about three more Stephen King film adaptations. Um, that's right, Superman nerd. You don't want to go down that road. The ground is sour. I cannot do it like Judd Crandall, unfortunately. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Blissful. But we are going to indeed be talking about Pet Sematary tonight. Not only are we going to be talking about Pet Sematary, we're going to be talking about Tales from the Darkside, the movie, and the one lone DVD. I don't know why the hell I don't have Graveyard Shift on Blu-ray. I thought I did. Evidently, I do not. I need to remedy that really quickly, but I haven't yet. So this is the one lone holdout that I actually have the Paramount DVD, and I'll tell you, this thing is heavy. I mean, these cases were built to last back in the day. I will tell you that much. I haven't had this one out in a while, so I was like, yeah, it's good to, you know, oh goodness, it's good to see this one, have this one out, and I've watched it, but I've watched it in other formats and not had my DVD out. I don't even remember how the DVD looks actually. Um, so before we get to that though, I do want to talk about what's coming up for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, of course, will be another Everybody Wants England. I'm going to be talking about three more Stephen King. That's Stephen King on the brain right now, of course. Three more Robert Englund films. So we're going to be talking about The Fifth Floor, The Ordeal of Patty Hearst, and Mind Over Murder. Now, the first two I've seen already. I've already watched them. But Mind Over Murder, I need to finish up. I started watching the beginning of it, but never fear, I should have it ready by the time I do the show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. Wednesday, because TJ has a prior engagement, he will not be able to do the next Creep Show Horror on TV segment with me. So instead of forging ahead by myself, which I don't really like to do, I would rather have TJ on here with me. Jay and Kathy are going to be joining me for another TMI show. This is TMI 2. And we're going to have some all new stories that all of us are going to share, right? So you can look forward to that. Thursday, I think I'm being lazy on Thursdays lately, but you guys and gals seem to enjoy these review shows anyway. So I will be doing yet another triple threat review show on Seductive Poison: The Resurgence. And I will be talking about the Atticus Institute. So for those of you that miss me talking about it on one of the other streams, I will be talking about it on Thursday again. So I'll be talking about the Atticus Institute and this double feature, Bad Dreams and Visiting Hours. So be sure to join me for all of that. Friday will be another midday with Dana and Jay. Who the hell knows what we'll talk about? Last week we had Robert Englund, well, not a Robert Englund, but a Freddy Krueger / Nightmare on Elm Street birthday bash, because Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy are 40 years old this year, which just blows my mind because I remember watching the Nightmare on Elm Street. But we also, did a little TMI, didn't we? So you never know what me and Jay are going to bring up and talk about on these midday with Dana and Jay shows. That's why you don't want to miss them, if at all possible. And then, of course, Saturday and Sunday, we will be having another couple of watch alongs plus an all new movie munchies. Again, the movie munchies is going to be something that Jay suggested. He's on a roll, he's on fire. I ain't even going to lie. So he said, why don't you do a Jaws inspired movie munchies and have, you're going to need a bigger um, not avocado, a bigger zucchini boat. I have avocado on the brain. Um, you're going to need a bigger zucchini boat, which anybody that has seen Jaws, and I think that's probably all of you in here right now. If you haven't seen it, please remedy that soon in a for free version if you don't own it. Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry. I did take a little cat nap before I came on here. It's a wonder I wasn't late. So, but I really wanted to do this show. I was a little more tired today than I have been, but I wanted to do this, so here I am. But I may be yawning a little bit. Um, and so what I'm going to be doing is zucchini boats with turkey in them. And I think there's some seasonings, maybe some vegetables. I've got to look at the complete recipe that Jay sent me. So that's what we'll be doing on Sunday, starting around 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the movie Munchies. Now, the watch alongs, Saturday's watch along on the 24th, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. It's sure to be fun, especially if you have not seen Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. Um, Sunday's watch along will be the Clint Eastwood vehicle, Play Misty for Me. So no comedy this weekend. So be prepared for all of that upcoming. And of course, I have the ever popular Midday with Dana and Jay t-shirt design. Go pick up yours today. Don't delay, right? If you have the financial means to do it, please pick you up a shirt. If you don't want a t-shirt, you can get a tank top. You can get a sweatshirt. You can get a hoodie. If you don't want articles of clothing at all, never fear. They have coffee mugs. They have tumblers. They have wall art. They have pillows, phone cases, stickers, magnets, something for all tastes. And I think they're having a sale. Maybe there's a sale coming up. I told you, T Public always has sales. But maybe it isn't in effect yet. Let me see here. Let me just refresh the page real quick here. Yeah. I guess the sale's not right now. So, but you can also get the Midday with Dana and Jay 40th anniversary Freddy Krueger birthday bash shirt. That's sure to be, I think, a popular design. The Captain Howdy Burgers t-shirt. They'll exercise even the most demonic hunger. The Dead Pit Drive-By shirt, the Canadian Horror shirt, Little Stevie Torrance featuring my husband on there. The original Midday with Dana and Jay with transparent background or without a transparent background. Retro Reggie Valentine shirt, the original Reggie Valentine shirt, the original TMI show t-shirt. Movie Munchies original t-shirt, the Movie Munchies Pigs in a Blanket t-shirt, and then a couple of old designs that I've had on here since forever. The Dana on Deck t-shirt, the original one, and also a second logo t-shirt. All right. So now that we got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, I'm going to catch up on these chat messages, and then we're going to get to these lovely films. And also, I'm going to do a rating for all of them using the Deadites rating scale. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Kathy, you say I ran a couple of stories by Jay. He thinks they're good. I am sure they are, and I'm just kind of chomping at the bit to hear those stories. Hey, Blair. 1980s Betamax, I did watch the Andrew McCarthy Kingdom Hospital TV series, and I will be eventually talking about that on Stephen's Kingdom. Hey, Jimmy. Jimmy says, what's up, everyone? Here we go. It's TMI part 2. And 1980s Betamax, you say Donna from Knots Landing was in the movie. Donna Mills, yes. Jimmy, I absolutely love Play Misty. So, all caught up on the chat. So let's get started with these movies, shall we? So the first one I want to talk about tonight is Pet Sematary. And let me tell you, my little 13-year-old brain was blown by this movie when it came out. And honestly, I'm trying to remember. I want to say I may have already read Pet Sematary at that time. You're probably thinking, geez, Louise, Daniel, you read it at 13? Well, hell, I watched the movie at 13. But I think almost everybody can agree with me on this. But if you don't agree with me, please put it in the chat and tell me why you don't agree. For me, the most terrifying thing about this movie was not the dead being buried in the pet cemetery or like actually beyond the pet cemetery in the Micmac Indian burial ground and coming back all screwed up in more ways than one. That was not the most terrifying thing for me. That was pretty standard for me, even at age 13. What scared the bejesus out of me was Zelda. Man, oh man, whoever thought that, thought that up, like, we got to have Zelda in this because, with all due respect to Stephen King, it was creepy to read about Zelda when I was reading the book, but the personification of Zelda in this movie, the way they designed Zelda, and the fact that they used a young man in that role, and not a woman to play the sister Zelda, who the only thing I was ever confused about, and I didn't think about this when I was a kid, I thought about it in the succeeding years, was okay, she got spinal meningitis. I guess maybe it was worse, could have affected the brain more at that point in time because it does affect the spine, and we know there are spinal fluids and all that stuff is comes from the brain and all that stuff. So if something affects the spinal fluid, it could affect your brain. But I had never heard of anybody in recent years getting spinal meningitis and losing their freaking mind, going insane. But there is a scene in the film, and I can't remember if it's in the book or not, is where Lewis tells his wife, he says, you should have never been left alone with her, Rachel. He said, have, if I didn't have enough reasons to hate your mother and father, I have one now. Where were they? Why did they leave a young girl alone with her sister who was dying and clinically insane, probably clinically insane by then? Okay. So even though, thinking about that in succeeding years did not do anything to extinguish the creep factor behind Zelda. Yes, exactly. Never get out of bed again. That scene where she sees Zelda and Zelda's all hunched over because her back is all twisted and she says, I'm coming for you, Rachel. And this time I'll get you. And talking about, I'll twist your back like mine and you'll never get out of bed again. Never get out of bed again. And she's just shrieking it. And the face and the voice and everything combined, it's a wonder I didn't have nightmares. And I didn't have usually have nightmares from movies um, ever. So it's a thousand wonders that I didn't have nightmares from this, really, because very, very effective. But there are other things that work in here, not just Zelda. Um, we have the a scene that, even though I don't have children to this day, I mean I have my fur babies, they're my children, and I don't want anything to happen to them. So I can only imagine what those scenes were like for one Stephen King, who had young children at the time, to write the scene where the little child Gage is run over by a truck, and the father and the mother and their neighbor Judd Crandall and Ellie, his sister, have to watch helplessly as Lewis does not get to the road in time to save Gage from getting run over by the truck. And you don't even have to thank God that they didn't go the route of showing a mangled child, because I think that would have been overkill. But you hear the accident, you hear the noise, and you see one of the child's shoes covered in blood, kind of being tossed up. And then you hear the most guttural no coming out of Lewis's mouth, and he's screaming. And you see flashes of Gage when he was born, and Lewis holding him because Lewis is a doctor, and seeing them celebrate birthday parties and stuff like that. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And so I think especially parents probably get in the mind of Lewis Creed at that time that, yes, I probably would, even if I was warned about this place. If my child was taken from me, I would take them to the Indian burial ground that's beyond the pet cemetery and bury them there. As gruesome as it sounds, as gruesome as it plays out in the movie of him digging up Gage out of the cemetery. And there's the one shot where Lewis is holding his dead son against his chest and, saying, what happened to you is wrong. Basically, I'm going to make it right, Gage. You shouldn't have been taken from us and all of that. Um, let's see. Yes, 1980s Betamax. The movie Mass from '85 was a sad movie about Rocky Dennis. Yes, yes, I actually did a watch along for that not very long ago, and it it's a very heart wrenching story, but it's a very good story too as well. But about overcoming a lot of things. And sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Still fighting those sinuses. Um, but that watch along, for whatever reason, has about 7,000 views on. I haven't checked it in a few days, so it may have went up some more. Jimmy says Pet Cemetery is the only movie that still scares me. Zelda, LOL. I knew it. Uh, and Pascal, later he got hit by the truck. Yes. 1980s Betamax, you say Zelda and the Elephant Man, and 1982, the Hunchback Notre Dame movie was Anthony Hopkins in it. And he was really creepy and scary. Jimmy, you say you love Pet Cemetery but can't watch it much. Um, well, I didn't see that one twice, so maybe it's on the maybe it's on YouTube's end. Yes, I was going to talk about the funeral too, 1980s Betamax. Yeah, the other part that is just so heartbreaking. After Lewis and Rachel have lost their youngest son, their youngest child, there's been tension for years between Lewis and Rachel's parents. So they get the father, comes up to Lewis, who is clearly grieving at his son's casket, and it's a closed casket, and his father-in-law is such an asshole. No, no feelings whatsoever. I'm sorry, but no feelings whatsoever for anyone. Comes up to Lewis at his lowest moment ever and basically calls him a piece of shit, a killer of children. Where were you when he was playing in the road? What kind of in-law does that kind of thing at their grandson's funeral, especially a child of that age? So that is just absolutely heart wrenching. And then they get into an actual fight where Lewis is saying, "You have no right," and and then there's a shoving match and hitting and stuff. And the topper is that Gage's casket falls to the ground, bounces. Rachel sees it. Ellie sees it. The other people at the funeral see this. The casket bounces and the top comes up a little bit, and Gage's little arm is there. It's not real, um, but at the same time, it's just so heartbreaking. Hey, Menelect, I hadn't seen you in a while. Um, Thank you, Jimmy, for saying bless you. Um, Sorry, I had gotten a message here. All right. So, anyway, this movie is very powerful on a lot of levels for me. Uh, and I could absolutely watch it anytime. Forget remake, forget all this other stuff that came later. This is the one to watch. And I can't believe some people say that the acting is horrible in it. That they said that the acting in the remake is a lot better. And it has John Lithgow in the remake, and even he can't save that damn movie. Um, and he's an amazing actor. But the original Pet Cemetery, um, and it, believe it or not, it was actually filmed in Maine. So they had a lot of people from Maine that either worked on the film or that acted in the film. They basically had a casting call in Stephen King's backyard, so to speak. Stephen King plays a priest at Missy Dandridge's funeral, and Missy Dandridge is the housekeeper for Lewis and Rachel. And we've got Pascal, the guy that gets hit by a truck also and comes back as a ghost to warn Lewis that don't do that. Don't go beyond the pet cemetery because the ground is sour. And we find out in spades what that actually means. So, in the 4K, if you got the ways and means to watch it on 4K and want to purchase it, I'd say that would be the way to go because it looks absolutely amazing on the 4K. And Paramount did put this out, and there are some decent, decent special features on this. Hold on, guys and gals. I'll be right back with a rating for this, but I think maybe my blood sugar is dropping a little bit. All right. So, of course, the rating I have to give for Pet Cemetery, it's going to be 5 deadites out of 5. No question about it. This is a great movie. It has the ability to creep you out. It has the ability to entertain. It has the ability to elicit all kinds of emotions from you. Um, and I think it follows Stephen King's book pretty well, too, on top of everything else. So, Super Batman gives it a 5 as well. 1980s Betamax, you say, I like the AMC Fear Fest every October. They play old school marathon Stephen King movies. Yes, you are correct on that. 1980s Betamax. I think they do still do that. All right. So, the next movie I'm going to talk about has one story in particular that's Stephen King's. And that is The Cat from Hell. We also have a couple of other stories in this. Lot 249, that's inspired by a story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And Lover's Vow, that I think must be an original story written by Michael McDowell. So let's just kick this off talking about the Cat from Hell story. So we have William Hickey, who's this rich old man, basically hires this hitman to come and get rid of a cat for him. Of course, the hitman thinks this is ludicrous. Why can't you just get rid of the cat yourself? Well, we find out very shortly into the story that the cat does kill people in its own way, and it's always ever elusive, right? They simply cannot get rid of it. The old man sends his butler to take the cat away. The cat ends up killing the butler in the car when he goes to take the cat out. So this cat shows up, and the old man has his sister living with him, and also a friend of his sister. So it's three elderly people living in this big mansion um, by themselves. Okay. And so this cat shows up one day, and the sister falls in love with it. Her friend falls in love with it. And they just baby talk this cat and everything. But William Hickey never did trust this cat. And he knew somehow that that cat was going to be the death of them all. And his sister never would get rid of it. She'd take it up to her room. Her friend would take it up to the room. They'd lock themselves in there and not let him get inside. And so we begin to see that the cat trips one of the ladies and causes her to fall and break her neck. I believe it suffocates the other one. And it's always trying to kill William Hickey. So that's when he hires the hitman, Mr. Halston. And I absolutely love William Hickey, by the way, because he was always such a fantastic character actor. And he could really take on any role and kind of make it his own, which he does with this. So the final shot of this, and I know some people don't much care for Tales from Darkside, the movie, but I always liked it. And in particular, I like this story. And here's one of the big reasons I like it, because the final shot, you see, Mr. Holson trying to kill the cat every way that he can kill him. And the cat always evades him, and it scratches him, and he's like, basically, you fucker, I'm going to get you. And then the final attack, the cat ends up going inside of Mr. Holston through his mouth and killing him. And so when William Hickey comes in the room, the cat's nowhere to be found, is it? And you see the look of horror on William Hickey's face as the cat pushes its body like it's being born out of Mr. Holston's mouth, which is just an absolutely fantastic way to end the story. Yeah, cheesy fun. That's a good way to put it, Jimmy. Definitely a good way to put it. Super Batman Nerd talking about Pet Sematary. He says, "Hi, Daddy. I played with Mommy. We had fun, Daddy, and now I want to play with you." And that was in all the trailers for the movie. And then we hear Lewis, "No," or "What did you do?" It just if that trailer did not make you want to see the movie, then I don't know what would. Jimmy says, "Yay, Tales from Darkside the movie. Love this one." I promised you I'd be talking about it. Blissful says, "Oh, geez, Gidget has been plotting today. Now I'm paranoid." But let's talk a little bit about the other two stories and the wraparound with Debbie Harry. So the other two stories, one is the first story, Lot 249. I always liked this one as well. It was kind of a simple story, as they all were. But it stars Christian Slater and Julianne Moore and Steve Buscemi. And Steve Buscemi and Christian Slater, and even I believe Julianne Moore and her boyfriend are all college students. But Julianne Moore is she plays a very wicked woman. And she writes her boyfriend's essay or thesis or whatever, and he gets this award. And they set it up to look like Steve Buscemi's character stowed some Egyptian artifact. And so he gets disqualified for this award, which was going to allow him to further his education. But they're rich and stuff and think that they can get away with things. And so we have all that. Christian Slater's not as vindictive as his sister. In fact, I don't feel like Christian Slater's character is vindictive at all, really. He actually tries to make conversation with Steve Buscemi's character and actually gets a look at something Buscemi has got in, which is a mummy. And so basically, he reads something off of a scroll that brings this mummy to life. And the mummy kills Julianne Moore's character. Sorry, spoilers here. And kills her boyfriend. And Christian Slater loses it. And basically tells Buscemi, if you don't give me this scroll, or let me throw it in the fire, I'm going to let this thing eat your nuts, basically. So it appears that Christian Slater gets the scroll. He throws it in the fireplace. It burns up. And then when Buscemi gets thrown out of school, he's laughing because he's got the real scroll and he starts reading it off. And guess what? That damn mummy is going to go after Christian Slater. So I really like that story. It doesn't seem like your typical Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, but I love it nonetheless. The last story, Lover's Vow, it's a little sad. It's got a little romance in it, got some horror in it. So James Remar plays a failed artist, really. He's struggling to get work. He's down to his last few pennies to rub together, right? And I believe he gets kicked out of a bar at the beginning, and so he's going down this alley, and there's this gargoyle that has killed one person and is going to kill him. And he's like, please spare me, please spare me. And the gargoyle says to him that night, says, okay, I will spare you, but you can never tell anybody about me, about what you've seen. And then it flies away. So sometime later, this beautiful woman shows up, and he takes her in, and they fall in love, and they end up having a relationship, I guess getting married, and have a couple of kids. And he's been working on a painting, and what he is painting is that gargoyle that he saw many years ago in that back alley. And his wife asked him about it. And I guess for whatever reason he thinks, well, maybe the statute of limitations is over. Maybe, I don't think this thing's really going to come back if I tell somebody. Not after this long. So he tells his wife the story. And then she starts to change and morph into something else. And we see the kids come to the door of their room and they're crying and they've changed in these creatures. And his wife was the gargoyle. And she says in the gargoyle's voice, "Why did you tell? I loved you." And so she kills him, and her and her children fly up to the top of the building and become stone gargoyles. And so I really like that one as well. I really love the wraparound story where it's like a Hansel and Gretel type of story where Debbie Harry is a witch who's kidnapped this little boy, and she has got him locked up, but she's gave him a book, a Tales from the Darkside book that's got stories in it. And so she tries to get the little boy to tell her, what was your favorite story? And he throws the book at the bars of the little cell that she's got him in. And he scattered cookies all over the floor because she's trying to fatten him up because she's going to have a party and she's going to cook this kid to serve to her party guests. And so she says, "Well, I guess I'll have to go ahead and cook you." So then he hits upon an idea. I'm going to tell you some of the stories in the book to try to buy him some time, right? And so the stories that he is talking about that are in this big bound Tales from the Darkside book are the stories that are within the core of this movie. Jimmy, you said the third story is your favorite? Yes, Jimmy, you are right. The old man was in the Tales from the Crypt episode directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sewer Batman Nerd, you said that was Miko Hughes, who later played in Kindergarten Cop as the kid who says boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, and Dylan in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. You're exactly right, Sewer Batman Nerd. Gage from Pet Sematary, yes. You say you thought that was a weird twist. But anyway, there's Tales from Darkside, and although I can't give it a 5, I mean, some of you might be able to give it a 5, and that's fine. Some of you might not even give it what I'm going to give it, which is a 4. Not as great as Pet Sematary, but still a very, very good film. I also have this one in 4K. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. And it looks really, really good in the 4K. If you have the ways and means to watch it in 4K and can afford to purchase it or watch it for free, of course, watch it for free first. But that's Tales from the Darkside. So the last film I want to talk about tonight is Graveyard Shift. And Graveyard Shift is based on yet another Stephen King short story. And I always liked the story, and I always enjoyed the movies. Now, some people may find this a little cheesy, and I accept that. But man, you kind of just got to suspend disbelief a little bit. Okay? Because you have Kelly Wolf's in this, Stephen Mock, Brad Dourif. Really a really good cast. The screenplay was done by John Esposito. Of course, based on the short story by Stephen King and directed by Ralph Singleton, who I cannot place as what other movies he may have done. But Graveyard Shift is a really fun little romp. So this drifter, let's get into the story here. This drifter basically comes into Gates Falls, Maine, and where there's an abandoned textile mill that's reopened. And several employees have met mysterious deaths from this creature, which we will soon figure out is basically a cross between a bat and a rat, and a giant bat and a rat at that. So Stephen Mott, or Mott, however you pronounce it, he's kind of sadistic. He's the sadistic supervisor. So he's chosen a group to clean up the mill's rat-infested basement. And there are rats galore. But what happens when this group gets down there is they find this, creepy maze of tunnels where this mutated rat bat creature has been evidently living for a long time. Yes, Andrew Divoff is also in this Super Batman Nerd, who later played the Djinn from Wishmaster 1 and 2, is in Graveyard Shift. You are exactly right. Super Batman Nerd, you say, I can't rate because I haven't seen it. But I listened to Movie Dumpster review Tales from the Darkside. So do you remember, did they give it a rating, Super Batman Nerd? I'm just kind of curious what somebody else may have given it. So not a lot of meat to this, but keep in mind it was a short story. And for me, it's a well-liked short story. I love Brad Dourif's character as the exterminator. He is just classic in this. I really think Brad Dourif could play any part you wanted to throw at him. Because not only has he been Chucky in Child's Play, he's been the character of the exterminator in this. That he also played a very big part, a very heartbreaking part in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So, if you want to see Brad Dourif play a role outside of, very far removed from a lot of roles he would have later, then definitely watch that. Watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was also in Urban Legend as a gas station attendant. And a ton of other stuff I'm probably forgetting. Stuttering Billy, yeah. But not a whole heck of a lot more that I could talk about as far as a plot for Graveyard Shift. That's basically it. But because I enjoy this movie so much and really want to go back and watch it again, and damn it, I am going to get it on Blu-ray before long. I could have sworn that I'd already purchased it on Blu-ray. However, I could not find it. So I must have changed my mind at some point or whatever. But there may be some groans, but I'm going to have to give this one a 4 as well. Just because I enjoyed it for all the cheesy good fun that is to be had in Graveyard Shift. Not perfect, but very few things are, but I would definitely have to give it a 4. Definitely have to give it a 4. Oh, yeah. Alien Resurrection. Exactly. Super Batman Nerd. So, I went on for the usual amount of time that I usually go through these movies when I'm on here by myself. Yes, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was fantastic, Jimmy. Um, Sir Batman Nerd, you say you find it fascinating that Brad Dourif does the Chucky voice in most of the movies he is in. Yeah, I mean, Brad Dourif has one of those distinctive voices that you don't forget. It's just like once I seen Steve Railsback play Charles Manson in Helter Skelter, forever after that, when he opened his mouth, all I could think is Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Whether he sounded like Charles Manson or not, he was Charles Manson in that movie. Therefore, I associate his voice with Charles Manson. So, in that same vein, Brad Dourif has that very distinctive voice that you don't forget. Um, so I can probably stay on here a few more minutes, maybe till 9ish or so, if you guys and gals want to ask me any questions or comment on anything that we've talked about tonight. Um, and Sir Batman Nerd, that design that you sent me, I'm really liking it. Let me ask you this though, since you're on here. Did you want me to use that for a T-shirt design, or did you want me to use it just for the thumbnail and the background that's on here? Um, because I want to make sure I get your permission before I use it in any capacity. Yeah, that's right, Sir Batman Nerd. Even when Whoopi Goldberg shot him with a shotgun in one movie. But I don't want to have too much like dead air in here. Kathy, you say, I need help. Y'all mentioned a movie that started with a D. Um, did I mention it tonight, Kathy, or did I mention it, or did somebody else mention it tonight, or possibly a P? One word. Mm, oh, I know I talked about Pet Cemetery, but that's not one word. Yes, Jimmy, he was definitely an urban legend. Well, with your permission, Super Batman Nerd, I'll be glad to use it as a thumbnail to advertise and promote. A while ago, oh boy. I may have to go back and watch some of the. I may have to watch some of my streams recently. Uh, so yes, Super Batman Nerd, I will definitely, if you don't have any objections, I'll be happy and proud to use that design you sent me for the thumbnail. You'll get Jay to help. I'm just wondering if it was. I hate when I can't remember something that I've talked about. It's awful. It's awful to get old. That's probably why I repeat myself so much, because I can't freaking remember anything. It wasn't the movie Popcorn, was it, Kathy? He say, "Hey Dana," on our stream. I bet you will remember it. Probably. That's weird. Jimmy, you say, Dana, you're so knowledgeable of horror movies and I dig it. Maybe better than me. Well, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. You'll be great, Kathy. I can guarantee it. You say I promise to be kind of good. Um, well, like I said, I can stay on here about 4 more minutes and then I'll probably call it a night. Um, that's the thing that I do. I come off kind of strong and animated at the beginning, and then by the end, I start to fizzle out, and I feel like I drag everything down because I can't keep the momentum going. The hopefully, tomorrow night and with the TMI 2 show, I will keep the momentum going. I did want to remind everybody though, the TMI show will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time. That was a time that we worked out that would work for Jay and also work for Kathy and works for me, of course, because I'm flexible. Um, but I just wanted to remind everybody because me and TJ usually don't start till 8:30 when we're doing the horror on TV. Probably so, Super Batman Nerd. You imagine TJ will be like that dog. Jimmy says popcorn is great. It may be that it was that one. Blissel said, woohoo, after dark. Yep. It'll be deadites on deck after dark, but I don't want to say that too loud because Dead Pit has Dead Pit after dark. And I don't want anybody to feel like I'm copying off of them. So I guess I should ask, for those of you in here that either saw the movie Munchies for the Captain Howdy burgers yesterday or you watched it on the replay, what'd you think? Um, yeah, Super Batman Nerd, I can show. Hold on one sec here. Let me just one sec. Oops, it's not what I wanted to do. All right, let's see if I can share my screen here so everybody can see your design. You're getting really good at these designs, Super Batman Nerd. Oh, that's not. Gosh dang it. There we go. So, can everybody see the design there? Maybe I can make it now. Doing a very good job of that. But hopefully you can see the design that Super Batman Nerd came up with the TMI 2 show. I think that's really cute. And I thank you for coming up with that too, Super Batman Nerd. There we go. I'll make it a little bit bigger for you guys and gals. Lissel thinks it's cute. Yeah, I like the hear no evil little thing with the dog. Yeah, Jimmy likes it. Yeah, actually, Super Batman Nerd sent me more than one design, and I've liked all of them that he sent. All right, so now I'm going to stop sharing the screen there. But it is now 9:01, Now, I've been on here for an hour and 1 minute and a few seconds, but I want to thank everybody for joining me for another Stephen's Kingdom. That dog is cute, Jimmy. I agree. Um, and I will return tomorrow night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Everybody Wants England. Again, the movies I'll be talking about tomorrow night will be The Fifth Floor, The Ordeal of Patty Hearst, and Mind Over Murder. So be sure to join me for that. And don't you dare miss that TMI2 show with me and Jay and Kathy. So it's going to be a triple threat from us, guys and gals. So I don't want anybody to miss it because who knows what we'll bring up then. But I'm off of here. I'm off like a dirty shirt, as is said in Pretty in Pink. And I bet everybody remembers that that's watched Pretty in Pink. Ducky says that line. So I am indeed off like a dirty shirt. And I will see everyone next time. Y'all have a fantastic Monday night. We'll see you in the evening tomorrow for Everybody Wants England.